Hello everybody and welcome to this week's free newsletter from Trade with Precision. My name's Simon Clarke, and in this week's newsletter I'm going to take a look at the euro, in fact a number of euro pairs and crosses, because whilst we've had these lovely trends and predominantly the euro has been selling off across many different markets, as we can see, going back for quite a reasonable amount of time, back to sort of mid last year. In fact now they've actually look like they're clustering around some very nice interesting levels, and it looks like the next leg of these moves are sort of poised to take place. So if we take a look at a few of these markets, let's take a look at the daily on the euro dollar at the moment. We can see that the trend structure here is absolutely beautiful. This is lovely optimal chart structure. In fact, when we start to look at these levels, I mean, the market's just sort of pulled back to this 1.15 thousand level here. Nice sort of key psychological round number. Certainly found resistance there, and it looks like we're starting to get a break towards the downside here. And if it's this trend is going to continue, well, I think we've got at least a test of the old lows for the trend to continue, which is quite a reasonable move. If we start to come down to the lower time frames here and take a look at the 4-hour chart, we can start to see on the 4-hour chart nice chart structure here. In fact, we've got this level formed here, 1.13,000. Certainly been support through here in time. In fact, if we look here, we've now got a high, we've got a lower high, we've got a lower high again. Really looks like the pressure is building towards a breakthrough 1.13 thousand and possibly a continuation of the trend. And the reason I like this, of course, is that there doesn't look to be an awful lot in the way to hinder price continuing to move down. That's euro dollar. Let's take a look at some of these other ones. Now we've got euro yen, and if we take a look at euro yen, we can see euro yen has sort of sold off quite heavily here on the weekly, and now it's recently sort of pulled back up to this 135,000 level. So we can see that 135,000 area, it's a zone that has been prior resistance, prior support. It's going to act as prior resistance here again. Coming down to the daily chart here, we can see the structure of the trend here. We can see 135 sort of being tested and respected in the past, found support, bounced off it, and now it's finding resistance there right in the sell zone at this moment in time as well. So again, sort of starting to come down to the 4-hour chart, marking some levels in here. We can see that there are some real key levels here. We've got this sort of level up here, 130, just above the 135 level has been support, resistance a number of times, and just underneath this sort of consolidation we've got the sort of 132 area. So very, very tried and tested levels. What I'm looking for is a break either above these levels or a break below, preferably on this market, a break below this 132 level, and then I'm interested for a next move to the downside. If we come down and take a look at Euro AUD now Euro AUD looks very interesting too. If we take a look at the weekly, the big level here is the 145 level. There's a number of levels here on the weekly that have been very, very key levels for some time. 145 has been tested a number of times. It's been very respected very, very well. The market has now pulled down onto 145, and I'm just looking for a break underneath this. If 145 fails to hold, well then I think we've got to move down to the 140 level. That's 500 points on these lower time frames. So you'll start to see what I'm looking at here on the daily chart. So if I just zoom out, 145, you can see tested many, many times. Very, very nice level. The market now, we've had our high, we've had a low, we've got a lower high, we've got a lower low. We're just underneath 145 at the moment. Being able to get a trade underneath this, coming down to these old lows is just really a continuation of the trend. So you can start to see here on the 4-hour chart, we can start to see the structure of the trend in place now. We've got lower highs, lower lows. You can see there's some very technical levels here, 146, 145, some very nice technical levels as the market's sort of testing these and stepping down. So certainly looking for some key trading opportunities on the 145 level here. In fact, it's looking rather interesting on the lower time frames around that area at the moment. Let's take a look at one more here quickly. Euro CAD. Again, some very key levels here on this market. We can see that there's been some consolidation on Euro CAD. There's a couple of big key levels, 144 and 140.5. They've been support and resistance before. The market's just coming back down to 140.5 at this moment in time. So I'm interested to see what actually happens here. My sort of guess here, and it is only a guess, is that we're looking for a break of this. What I prefer to see is a break and a continuation, and looking for opportunities underneath this level. So in between these sort of two levels, I wasn't particularly interested either side of them. Yes, I am. We can see how many times those have been tested, of course. So coming down to the 4-hour chart here, you can start to see why I like this. We've already got a downtrend here in place. It's a little bit more mature on this sort of time frame, so a break underneath sort of 140.5. Although I think we've easily got a next move down here to underneath the 139,000 level. So plenty of potential movement to the downside. So some very interesting trading opportunities there, which I'm keeping a close eye on the euro crosses. So let me just tell you a little bit more about the webinars that we're running this week. If you want to find out more about the way that we trade, more about some of the techniques that we use and the modern technical analysis and the way that we use modern technical analysis these days, then come along and take a look at our webinar that we're running. It's high performance trading for a busy lifestyle. It's free to join, there's no cost involved at all, and it's being run in 2 different time zones this week. So we've got the 10th and the 11th of February. Depending upon where you are in the world, there's 10 a.m. London, 7 p.m. Sydney time, 9 p.m. Auckland time, or on the 11th we've got 3 p.m. New York time, 8 p.m. London time, 7 a.m. Sydney time next day, and 9 a.m. Auckland time next day. So depending upon where you're located around the world, there is some always going to be a time zone that's going to be suitable for you. Of course, in this webinar we're going to be able to explain more about the ways that we use modern technical analysis to be able to understand the markets and look for those potential trading opportunities. Okay, look forward to seeing you then. Bye for now.